Hello everyone, we're live today. We're back for our Mindset Mondays. I have been missing them lately. I've been missing doing them. I've been missing connecting with you guys live and sharing some of the things that I've learned with my yoga therapy training on why yoga is so beneficial for chronic conditions especially. It's beneficial in so many ways, but to actually heal and kind of teach the body again how to go into healing, we use a lot of yoga therapy tools. And one of those tools is meditation. So we'll let people learn that we are here. I see my live videos still starting on Facebook, so sometimes it gets a little jammed up. But in the meantime, I'm sorry I haven't been available. I've been busy getting married and just enjoying the end of the summer. So we've spent a couple weeks just planning for the wedding and then going out to the lake and spending that time, that really special weekend with all our family and friends. It was the most beautiful weekend. Couldn't have asked for it to be better. They lifted the campfire ban right before the weekend started, which was wonderful. We were able to have campfires safely. And the weather was beautiful. So I've just been catching up since then, getting back into the swing of things. And then we go on our honeymoon here shortly. We're going to be going to Africa. So pretty exciting stuff. All right, so we're still starting. I don't know if my internet is slow here. It just says we're starting. So hopefully you guys will get it on Facebook. I do have 3 bars, but says we're still starting on Instagram as well. So it could be the internet. So in the meantime, I will share what got me going today. I was feeling like a little bit low energy, kind of dragging my butt. It's a Monday morning and it's gloomy outside. It's September 25th. So we're headed into the winter months here in central BC, and sometimes that can be a little bit depressing. So it takes me a little longer when I'm feeling that the sun isn't shining, the clouds are low, we're going into not spending as much time outside. So I just try to be present, be in the moment with what is happening. And if I'm feeling low energy, allowing myself to be still, to rest, to take it a bit slower. So one of the ways I do that is just tuning in with the breath. And that's one of the best ways, that's actually a mini meditation, to tell your body that everything's going to be okay. Just by tuning in with our breath for a couple cycles, we're literally turning on our healing and repair system in the body, and we're telling the brain that we can let go of worry. So let's do that together. Feet are on the floor, seated in your chair. Inhale through the nose for 3. Exhale through the mouth for 6. Inhale for 3. Exhale for 6 through the nose or the mouth. You might close your eyes. When we close our eyes, we allow our awareness to go inward. Shutting out the outside world, focusing just on what's happening inside of you. And what do you notice? You might notice tension in certain areas. You might notice this feels really uncomfortable. And just see if you can allow that to be, even if it's uncomfortable, even if everything inside of you is telling you to run, to open your eyes, to keep going on with your day, and to avoid being still. See what happens if you just continue to focus on breathing in for 3, out for 6. And then notice how you feel. Again, you might feel anxious still, like you just want to get up and move. And that's common, especially for people who don't check in very often with themselves and are busy, moving from one thing to the next. And a lot of times our society actually tells us that that's what we're supposed to do. I just have a little hair there I've got to get. And we run from one thing to the next without ever checking in with how we're doing. And then all of a sudden our body is screaming at us with symptoms of stress, symptoms of pain, symptoms of chronic conditions, and we don't even know how to deal with them because we're so on that rat race and not used to slowing down that it feels really weird not to. It feels really weird to be still. And sometimes a lot of my clients will find that and for myself this happened too, that as soon as I did slow down and checked in with myself, I had so much outpouring of emotion. Because it had been so long, it was like my body was literally saying to me, oh my God, thank you so much for just paying attention and actually letting go in this moment and just letting me be. And sometimes things come up when we're crying or we're feeling emotional that we want to run with a story about why we're feeling emotional. Oh, it must be because I did this, or I'm that, or this or that, and all these other, obsessive thoughts that we tend to get as humans. Let all of that go. There doesn't have to be a reason for your emotion. You can just let it be energy in motion. Think of it just as energy releasing from the body, and the body will thank you after. Even though it's painful, it hurts, it doesn't feel good in the heart, it doesn't feel good in the tummy. When we release this energy out, it's that stuck stuff that's been asking to be released. You'll notice later, maybe not immediately, but later you feel so much better. And so when we consistently do this over time, we teach our body that it's okay to be still. And then we form this new relationship with our body. Our mind and our body reconnect in a way that is trustworthy. The body can then trust what the mind is doing with it every day, right? If we're just running around and not paying attention to how our body feels or checking in with ourselves ever, our body starts to feel like, oh my gosh, like I can't even trust myself. I'm putting myself through so much. My mind, my ego is pushing and pushing and pushing and pulling the body through so much that the body will react in a way of resistance. So it's not until we get that relationship formed again between mind and body that your body can trust that you're going to check in with it. You're going to give it space to release emotions. That you're going to check in with how you're breathing, because our breath is our life. It's our life source. Our life force, even. right? So if we're just mouth breathing, running around, we're just stressing the body, we're going to end up with ailments. The body is going to start to speak back. And if we continue to not listen, that's when we're kind of, in a way, I don't want to put out negativity, but we're kind of writing the story for ourselves that we're just going to be stressed, right? That's our only option. And we're just choosing that. And so I'm sharing with you today one of the easiest ways, excuse me, to de-stress the body and to reconnect the mind and body in a relationship of harmony, of trust. Don't we all want those types of relationships in our lives? Right? Like, don't we all want to feel harmoniously connected with the people that we love? Like we're there for them, like we would do anything for them, we've got their back. We have to give that to ourselves as well, right? We have to let our body know, okay, I've got your back. I'm not going to just stress you out and push you through life to end up unwell or unhappy. So I'm sharing with you in the comments after this video a couple of people that I follow on YouTube, and there's two different takes on meditation. The one is Shauna Shapira, and she does a really good job of kind of explaining a little bit of the psychology behind the science behind why meditation works and how it reconnects the left and right brain hemispheres. We need those brain hemispheres to be firing together and working together. That's one of the ways that our body can be centered, right? If we're not connecting the left and the right very often, through practice, through breathing, through, awareness, then we can end up, again, kind of exacerbating that stress. So she talks about I believe it's a monk, a Tibetan monk, who they measure his brain and the amount of gray matter that has grown. I can't remember, it's just in the prefrontal cortex, I believe is what she says. Again, I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know the technical side so much, but there's so many studies of psychologists and studies out there that they are proving how meditation actually grows the gray matter in the brain that is responsible for happiness. Another guy, Dan Harris, talks, and I like Dan because he gives a little bit more of a, manly perspective. He makes a sports metaphor, and so, he says he even relates to the fact that he probably wouldn't have ever believed in this kind of, new age stuff if it wasn't for the science. And the science really is showing, that we are generally in a default mode, right? The brain's pathways are going whichever direction they are grooved the deepest. Okay, so if you've been a person who's had trauma, if you've been a person who has had, stress, anxiety, negativity, negative thoughts, fear, all of those things, you're thinking more often than not. I remember one quote from when I was doing my nutrition certification years ago, and they said that the average human has 60,000 thoughts a day, right? We're up there just thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, usually about ourselves, usually obsessing about something, and 80% of those thoughts are negative. So if we have a constant negative default mode, that the pathways are just shooting negativity, we are going to eventually just go to that place all the time. So it takes awareness, it takes being present to reconnect, breathe, take an inhale and an exhale through the nose. Choose instead how you want to think. A positive thought, maybe. Something instead of a fearful thought. And you don't even have to go that far. We don't even have to go into choosing an affirmation and thinking positively and visualization, although those things really do help as well. But for today's purpose, let's just literally breathe and see if you can find your space, the space between your thoughts. Okay, so we have thoughts that come and go without trying to get too wrapped up in what the thought is or the story behind the thought or anything to do with it. Just look at it, let it come across your awareness. Could be positive, could be negative. Let's not judge it. Just look at it for whatever it is, as if it's a cloud passing in the sky. Acknowledge it. Say, okay, I see you, thought. And then let it go. Let it move out of your awareness without attaching to it, without judgment. And then wait until the next thought comes in. Some of you might have a thought come immediately because they're kind of back to back, flashing through the mind. And that's okay. Just again, look at your thought. Stay connected to your breath. Let it go without judgment, without attachment. And eventually you'll get to a point where you notice there's space between your thoughts. It's a good thing we have batteries. Ooh. And it's on again. Well, it looks like I lost the internet on my computer. So we are still live on Instagram, at least, which is on my phone. So there you go. We're in the middle of a meditation. There we go again. We just got shut down. Can you maintain present awareness? Breathe. No need to panic. No need to find fearful or attach to fearful thoughts. See if you can just sit and let them go. Especially making sure, of course, that you're in a safe environment, in a secure room where you feel safe. Of course, if you're not, then, follow your fearful thoughts. Do what you need to do to get yourself to a safe place. And so what Dan Harris is saying in this YouTube video is that we go on to this default mode, right? So we go into this place where we have all of these negative thoughts, and then we are constantly on that loop, right, of whatever that negativity could be, usually fear-based. And especially for people that have had trauma, they're going to have more negative thoughts. They've already been through horrible, horrible things. So why wouldn't they think that way? So the idea here is not to discount any of what you've been through, but it's to recognize in yourself, okay, do I want to stay in that place? Is that serving me to stay in a thoughtful, maybe a fearful thought pattern? Or do I want to let that go and move forward and start rebuilding new pathways in my brain that align with where I want to go in my life? So it's like you're kind of taking your power back. You're reconnecting the mind and body. You're telling the body that it can trust you. And then you're choosing a different path, a positive path, a path of the outcomes that you want. You're not just sitting in this default mode of riding wherever your body ends up taking you because you're not doing the work, right? You're not stopping to take a few deep breaths a couple times a day. It doesn't have to be 20-minute meditations. Actually, Dan Harris comments on how one study shows that smaller meditations throughout your day are way more beneficial than sitting down for a 20-minute meditation daily. So one of the tricks I use with my clients is find something to trigger you into thinking, okay, stop, feel my feet on the ground, stand tall, relax my shoulders, Breathe. Maybe 5 cycles of breath, maybe more, maybe less. Find the space between your thoughts. And breathing through the nose, in through the nose is important. It helps to turn on that healing and repair in the body, in the nervous system. And then carry on with your day. It doesn't have to be a huge process, right? And so I've told some clients, okay, you could put up Post-it notes in different rooms to remind you. One that I was given as a student was every time you walk through a doorway, stop, feel your feet on the ground, stand tall, breathe. Right? It's that simple. So maybe that ends up being 10 times in a day. That would be, you would notice such a huge change in your everyday if you did even 3 times a day. It just changes the energy of the body almost immediately. And then the more we do that, the body will default to that instead of defaulting to all of these negative, fearful, stressful pathways that we're obsessing about normally, all that stuff that we just do in our minds that's not serving us, right? So you have to be the one to choose. And so sometimes people need to hear the science behind it. They want to see studies. They want to see, why this is proven or whatever that might be. So I am going to drop a couple of links into the comment section so you guys can check it out. Of course, that's only on Facebook. On Instagram, I will have to put a link in my bio. So I'll do that for a couple days. You guys can check out the different links that I'm throwing in there. And and so this is a whole section in the program that I offer online, teaching people how to literally change the healing response in the body with yoga therapy. Right? So those people in chronic pain, you're stuck in stress cycles. The nervous system is stuck in this stress response and it can't get out. Right? So we retrain, we take it out of that default mode that it's stuck in and we retrain it. We send new pathways with neuroplasticity, bioplasticity, and we use yoga therapy tools to de-stress and turn on your healing and repair. So if you want to learn more, I have a lot of the science backed in that program as well. So it's a way that I feel is a very, a program that can reach everyone. And it educates you on why this stuff works, why you're doing it. Some people don't care about that. For me, it was important to know why it works and to understand what's happening. And I think that gave me another level of awareness. And maybe you're not that person. So maybe you just want to go to classes and do the work in class, but you don't need to know the why. Then you can do that too. You can take meditations online. There's so many free apps these days. Insight Timer is one of them. I sent out my Monday Mindset email today. So if you're on my email list, you would have received a couple of meditations there. 2 of my favorites that I use at this time of year. It's a time, again, when we're kind of maybe feeling a little bit more down or, low energy, knowing we're going into these winter months. And so this is a good time to turn inward, to stop the rat race and put your energy, the energy you have, into you, into healing. And as we do that little bit of work daily,